Hi, this is Samantha Burke from the Circular Economy Living Lab. We are here today at Groundswell Collective on their first launch pad of their tiny forest, and we're here to showcase the circular economy initiatives in the Lake Macquarie City region. Thank you, Anna, for letting us have a look at your site.
No worries. Thanks for letting me come, Sam.
Okay. And Anna, can you tell us a bit more about what Groundswell Collective is?
Yep. So the Groundswell Collective is a Lake Macquarie-based not-for-profit organisation that delivers a range of sustainability initiatives, including tiny forests.
Which is right behind us,
Yeah,
right?
this is one tiny forest right here.
Awesome. And how did that come about? Why did you want to start Groundswell Collective?
Yeah, I was really worried about the impact that our growing population here in Lake Macquarie was having, and particularly land clearing for housing. So I'd been thinking about that. I'd been researching it really deeply and was looking at how as a community we could respond to kind of mitigate some of the impacts. So we know that when we clear a lot of the ground, that we create habitat destruction and species extinction and exacerbate the impacts of climate change. And I went, what's an evidence-based model that the community could use to kind of mitigate that? And so through research, I discovered tiny forests, which are these very cool planting methodology that came out of Japan. And I planted the first one here as a volunteer, and then after that started the Groundswell Collective and have been planting them ever since.
Awesome, thank you. And what is the site today? What size are we talking about here?
Yeah, so a tiny forest is usually about the size of a tennis court, so about 200 square metres. This one here is about 300 square metres, but it's got this kind of open bit in the centre. So the planting area is about 200 square metres.
Fantastic. And how many species? You did tell me about this before. I was a bit blown away. And how many species?
So in here we have 750 plants from 23 different species in that kind of 200 square metre planting area.
Gosh, you've done an amazing job. Yeah. I can't wait to see more about it.
Yeah, so all local native species that were indigenous to this site of local provenance. Fantastic. You know what all that means? So yeah, the seeds are collected as close to here as possible, and that's what you would have found growing here before any clearing happened.
And so I guess it's great for biodiversity as well for the region, and also the plant and animal life that you can see. They could possibly grab some seeds and disperse that into the area as well, perhaps.
Yep, absolutely. So part of the benefits of tiny forests are not only that kind of capturing carbon and reducing urban heat, but providing these small but complete ecosystems for local biodiversity. And we know we're providing them with the best food and shelter options because they're what they have evolved to eat over, centuries.
Fantastic. Okay, and here we are at this lovely circle. I don't know what it's called, Anna, but it sounds and looks amazing. Can you tell me a bit more about it?
Yeah, so when we designed this project in particular that's on public land, we wanted an area where the community could come in and engage with the forest. So we included this kind of outdoor classroom or yarning circle here, and I often bring groups and do tours and talks, or people just come and simply have their lunch and sit here in the shade of the trees and reconnect with nature.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. I really didn't think about having lunch here, but yeah I might choose this as my next location.
Absolutely. Next time you're driving past, stop in.
I will. And yeah, so it brings in that urban heat strategy of Lake Macquarie City Council as well, where you want to reduce the amount of area that is harsh sun.
Absolutely. So we generally take pretty bare and barren sites, so sites that have been maybe just mowed, so high maintenance but providing very little else as far as benefits or biodiversity support, and then we turn them into these ecosystems, so they reduce the maintenance but they also provide kind of environmental and social benefits.
And we're back at the tiny forest where it backs onto the road. But you wouldn't even notice when you're in that yarn circle, is it?
Yeah, it's creating that kind of both a visual barrier, but it also helps with that noise pollution and air pollution as well, because trees filter those things. So we are right next to a main road here.
Yeah. And can you tell me a bit more about the logs that are surrounding your site? It's a very circular economy principle, I think.
It is. There are a number of circular economy principles in our project. So these logs were reclaimed city removed trees. So we reached out to council and then to a local arborist and requested some logs, and they provide both an edge that makes it easier to maintain, so the maintenance crew can whippersnip up to it. They also provide habitat to lots of lizards and bugs, and help with keeping any weeds from going from the outside into it. And over time, they will continue to break down and feed the soil as well. So a really good reuse of trees that were already going to be cut down and keeping them at their kind of highest value rather than them being wood chipped, which is what would have happened. We kept them in their complete form.
And they look fantastic.
They do. And they create a bit of, nature play as well. If you have children here, the first thing they do is walk around the outside on the logs because that's what.
And Anna, what is a tiny forest?
So a tiny forest is a small yet complete ecosystem, generally about the size of a tennis court, and they're based on this phenomenal planting methodology that came out of Japan in the 1970s by a Japanese botanist called Akira Miyawaki. And what Miyawaki discovered is if you plant native species densely into soil that's been loosened and improved, you can kind of rapidly regenerate small areas, creating those complete ecosystems. So we follow that scientific methodology and we get these incredible results. So this forest behind us is less than 2 years old and is about 10 meters high, and very hard to see through, very dense.
And what other elements of circular economy do you have in your tiny forest as well?
One of the things we really love is because what we do is dig up the soil and improve it with organic material, we partner with Remondis, who are the local FOGO, so the food and organic waste contractor here in Lake Macquarie, and they donate compost, green waste compost back into our forests that then feed the soil. So there's this lovely story we can tell people about, your food waste and green waste is going off to be turned into compost that goes back into our forests that then helps create that forest and keep that living system going. And then those trees create their own mulch and compost over time. They drop their own leaves and branches, feeding the soil, feeding the trees, and then they don't require any maintenance.
Excellent.
Weed free.
How many or the locations that you have worked on tiny forests at?
Yeah, look, we have 11 local tiny forests that are already in the ground and about another 10 that are underway. And they range from the Central Coast to Dungog. We have a couple up at Patterson. We have quite a few here in Lake Macquarie, so Cardiff Heights, a number in local public schools, so Terralba Public School, Edgeworth Public School, St Paul's at Gateshead. And then in the future, we'll be spreading a little bit further. We're about to head down to Orange to plant one down there. And we've got a range of projects across Newcastle City Council and all the council areas coming. So watch this space. Plenty more tiny forests coming.
Awesome. And what do you see as happening in your industry in the next few years?
I've been really fortunate to, collaborate with forest builders from around the world, and that's an actual thing. There's a whole group of us that plant these forests. There's about 3,500 around the world, and we met in Japan last year, and we'll be working on things like accreditation, so you become a certified Miyawaki forest builder, as well as doing more advocacy work with local governments and things like that. So yeah, lots happening in this space.
And so anyone who wanted to start off a tiny forest, where do they go? How do they start?
Yeah, look, they are welcome to do the research themselves and find out more about Miyawaki Forest, or they're absolutely welcome to reach out to us at the Groundswell, and they can reach us through our website or all our socials at thegroundswell.org.au.
Anna, for today, I'm sure everyone has learnt a little bit more about a tiny forest and how it interacts with the circular economy. You know where to reach out to Anna. And thank you, Anna, for showing me the site.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Sam.
There is another circular economy initiative that you launched as well. Can you tell us some more about the Lake Max Seed Library?
Yeah, so the Lake Max Seed Library was started back in 2021, right in the throes of COVID, when we were kind of experiencing for the first time some of those challenges around our supply chain. I don't know if you remember what it was like when you couldn't buy toilet paper at the supermarket and lettuces were $8 and wild, crazy things that we'd never experienced before in my lifetime. I was kind of looking at our food system and resilience around our food system, and noted that lots of places had a seed library, but Lake Mac didn't. So went out and got some money to get started, and we now have 6 branches around the lake, like this satellite one here today.
Awesome. And what is your favourite seed?
Ooh, There's no bad seeds, Sam. It depends on what you like to eat. We certainly try to keep seeds for all growing types. So some simple things for people who are just starting out, right up to some advanced things. But we keep fruit, herb, not fruit. We keep veggie, herb, native seeds for people, and pollinator ones in particularly, post varroa, to kind of help our native bees. So you'll find a mix of those in any of our branches. And people can sign up to the library for free. So people that live in Lake Mac can sign up for free. They take their seeds home, and then we ask at the end of the growing season that they save some of those seeds and put them back in the library, so that it is this lovely circular process. And when we do that, we know that the more we grow and save seeds locally, the more they become resilient, resistant to our local temperatures. So they actually perform better than the seeds that you can buy in the shops.
Wow, that's fantastic. And it is that diversity of the ecosystem as well that you're supporting. So possibly someone who has got a crop from years ago can actually donate those seeds and create that biodiversity even more.
Absolutely,
right?
yep. So the more we save and share them, the more we're generating that kind of really healthy local seed stock here. And then there's all the other benefits, like reducing cost of living for people. So because they can grow food for free, reducing food miles, improving organic food as well. So yeah, so there's lots of benefits to a seed library.
Where are the seed libraries located?
So the 6 branches of the Seed Library are located at Edgeworth Memorial Neighbourhood Centre, the Canopy at Cameron Park, the Land Care and Sustainable Living Centre at Warragul, the Hub at Toronto, Cardiff Library, and Redhead Community Library. So people can pop in and visit those and pick up seeds. They can also donate seeds at any of those branches, or they can sign up for free at our website at thegroundswell.org.au.